Guys, okay, so here's a quick video showing you how to use all those fun supplies that you have to make this Joker face. So I have a perfect model. Let's get started. Okay, grease makeup needs no water to be activated. It's already greasy to the touch. The way to prep the skin is just make sure it's nice and dry. You can also use alcohol if you want to really remove anything from it. So this is just a white grease makeup, and I'm going to be using a latex wedge. So I'm just going to rub it over the surface of the paint so that you can get a really good amount right on your sponge. And because the good thing about the Joker is that it's kind of a messy look, you don't have to worry about it being 100% perfect with the application. So I'm just going to use this sponge, rub it evenly across the skin. And you'll leave kind of like a space over the eyes because we are going to be filling them in with black. And now you notice it's a little bit lighter in certain areas up there. That's okay. You want to leave some areas lighter because much of the Joker's face is kind of worn. That's the look of the face. So as you start running out, again, just reload your little sponge. I'm just covering the skin. Anywhere that you want it to be more opaque white, you're just going to add a second layer. And once you apply this first layer and you want to make it a whiter, a brighter white, what you're going to do is you don't want to drag it anymore. Now at that point you want to start stippling it in. And what I mean by stippling is I'm just going to load it one more time so that I have more white on my sponge. And then stippling just means kind of bouncing it around, pressing in a jumping motion, because you don't want to start swiping it again. What's going to end up happening is you're going to get more of a streakiness. Since we're going to be using red on top of the white and black on top of the eyes, and we're going to be creating some wear lines, you want to make sure that you powder this so that the colors don't blend into one another once you have a good base coat on. So you'll want to use any powder. You can use baby powder, put it in a sock. This is a translucent powder, but again, you can use whichever you have availability of. So I filled up my sock with baby powder. This one obviously has a lot, as you can see. So then I'm just going to tap it on those areas to really set the paint. You probably want to hold your breath for a few seconds because powder can be pretty intense. And don't put on your clothing before you start powdering because you are going to get powder everywhere. Okay. So what the powder does is it sets the paint, so now you can just paint on top of it without it actually, I'll put a little there, without it actually blending too much. So the next thing I'm going to do is pick up a little bit of the black paint because we're going to create the eyes. The shape that you want to create around the eyes is almost like a pear shape. So you want it to be in this shape, almost like a pointy egg, okay, for the eyes. So you don't want it to be too round. So I'm going to again just pick up the black, and then I start kind of like in the corner of the eye, but I cut through that eyebrow so that and then I'm just going to just press it in again. As dark as you want the black is as many layers as you're going to put in. So I just did one eye. And now the same thing, cut through that eyebrow, kind of stipple it in. Once the eyes are done, you have a couple of options. You can take a Q-tip, which would be the easiest for you, and you could just kind of drag it out like so, especially in the corners of the eyes to create those wear lines right inside of there, especially while the paint hasn't been set. And this will just give it a little bit more of that smeared on effect. And so I'm just kind of dragging the paint, because the Joker, what he did was just kind of slop the paint on his face too. So now I have the eyes kind of done, and then we're going to move on to the mouth. Now you guys do have a cream pencil, and once this is set, now you can just draw on top of it. So all you're going to do is start at the corner of your lip, and you're going to bring it up just like that, and then you're going to start on the other side and just kind of make a jagged line as well. I like to take my same Q-tip that I was using and just kind of rub it right over that line as well that you did with the red before we go out and start blending it even more. So just kind of rub it over it so that what it gives it is a little bit of a deeper wound. And then your pencil. Now, one thing to remember about your pencils is that they're a grease pencil, so they're softer. So if you're going to start sharpening them, just put them in the refrigerator or the freezer for a couple minutes to harden this cream, and then go ahead and start sharpening them. So going back to my same Q-tip that I was using, I'm just going to again kind of blend out the mouth, make it a little bit more of a messy look. And then I start going right along the jaw and pulling it out with my same Q-tip. And just a little sloppy. You don't want it to be too perfect. That's not going to make it fun. And using still with my same Q-tip, making sure that it's doesn't have too much black on it, you're going to come over the edges of your nose to just kind of give them that snared effect, using still a Q-tip. What I'm going to do is just add a few little lines, kind of these wear lines right on the forehead, and you'll want to create them with the natural shape of your face almost. So if you want to scrunch your face and then follow those lines like this one or this one and where these are, that's probably going to be your easiest way to do it. So, is just again take your sock and you're going to powder the entire thing. This is going to set it so it's going to become somewhat waterproof for you. You don't want to over powder it because what that's going to do is dull the color. But for the most part, this is going to help you tremendously. Alright guys, so I wish you the best of luck with this performance that you're doing. If you have any questions, please make sure that you let me know. Alright, now I'm just going to go back in with my red and go one more time to just emphasize those kind of markings right in there. So I'm going to go up and down, just like that. And then you have a choice again if you want to just take your Q-tip and blend out anywhere that it's just too much of a straight line for you, because this grease paint is very pliable to work with, which is good, and then it also can become waterproof.